back to Coriander Society Adventures, the show featuring a wandering wizard, an inventor vigilante, and a lady who's really good at punching people.
Once again, I'm your game master, Tormented by Gnomes. It's good to be back. Please tell me my audio is working. Yes, it is. We're professionals around here. And joining me, we've got Beatdown Cast, Ninja Man Matt, and Pods of War. Welcome back, everybody. It is good to see you. This is one of my favorite times of the week.
Me too.
Me three. I didn't know D&D was going to be this much fun.
There's a reason. There's a reason I've dedicated an unearthly amount of the last 23 years of my life to it. It's good stuff.
Pretty cool.
All right. So for those of us just joining us, Coriander Society is a 5th edition campaign spanning a multiverse of different dimensions. And the dimension we currently occupy is NORTHPORT. It's like the 1930s on Earth, except it's not Earth. There's weird science all over the place. There's superheroes in spandex. You've got magic, all sorts of good pulpiness. Indiana Jones would fit right in here, as would the Rocketeer. Our heroes are investigating the Angel Killer murders, which has unveiled an entire elaborate network of different problems to solve. Not only are they looking into the Angel Killer murders, they have a primary suspect, but they've uncovered a secret society, a mysterious expedition 20 years ago, the source of superpowers in the world, an evil scientist, a psychic overlord. They're juggling a lot at the moment. It's a busy life.
Yeah.
So
We're also juggling spilled coffee over here.
that happens.
How do you juggle coffee?
Very carefully.
Step one, spill
I
it.
failed.
Step two, shit.
That's step one down, that's for sure.
I actually had that happen in a stream in Red Sky City. Sideshow spilled his beer all over his keyboard in the middle of the show.
That's right.
And the best part about it was that he didn't get disconnected immediately. It was like he spilled it, he reacted live on camera, he was trying to fix it, and then a couple seconds later, he just froze as his machine died.
Oh no!
That is
That's
a
also funny,
classic.
It was awful, but also kind of hilarious.
I really hope that's clipped somewhere. I gotta go look.
Oh yeah, no, it's in the highlights. I'll post that later on, maybe during the break.
Excellent.
When we last left our heroes, you raided Thornacre, the mansion of Lincoln Giotto, the head of the Column, which is one of the major crime families in NORTHPORT. Beneath his mansion, you found the hidden laboratory of Dr. XORBIUS Brandt, who was conducting experiments on the various super-powered, gifted denizens of the city, including Lincoln's own daughter, Florence Giotto. You took some hostages, you rescued a number of people, and then you enchanted a gigantic life support pod and pushed it down the street on a floating disc while illusioning it to look like an old beat-down truck. I believe you had decided to go to Gastone's laboratory.
Yes.
That was the closest place, and you sort of all needed to stick together in order to make it work.
And we only had an hour for the floating thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God. Yeah.
It's been busy times.
Familiar.
I feel like we got right into the warehouse district when it all went boop and was like, well, now we got to push it from here, guys.
Yeah, because now you spelled it to look like a car, right?
Yes.
Oh my god.
So then we have all the wheels fall off, and then just the last 100 yards, we're just pushing this grating.
That sounds about right.
Now, you arrived at Gastone's laboratory with the life support pod, which is you jury-rigged it to have a temporary power supply. It doesn't have a permanent power supply. It's going to need some fixing, and you're going to need to go through Dr. XORBIUS' notes to make sure that you keep everything balanced to either keep Florence alive in there or wake her up and remove her. So you've got that to handle. You've got Quirk and Extra, 2 gifted. You also got a few other gifted. One has a frog tongue, one has antennas and claws. You've got Saul Henning, the smuggler who is under the mind control of Ralzamon, master of the unknown. And I'm forgetting something. Oh yeah, you've got a gangster who shot Quirk in the face.
Yep, who's still currently under the suggestion spell, waiting for Beatdown to do whatever.
I was just gonna shoot. I decided I was gonna shoot him because Cork didn't die, so I'm like, okay.
All right, the quick, merciful death.
We're waiting until we get back to the warehouse, or did
like
slip
you
into
know,
an alley somewhere?
yeah, like maybe a couple 100 feet away in some alley, just throw people off. Yeah, no one will know. This area sucks.
Down to the docks, sleeping with the fishies.
That's right. But it's actually a great idea.
Right out of the mobster playbook. All right. So if you'd like, we can do a time skip here. We can let everybody go back to their respective homes, just do a little bit of downtime stuff, and then reconvene wherever everybody would like. Let me just check my notes real quick.
While you're checking your notes, I kind of wanted to address some of my notes.
Absolutely.
So, gentlemen and ladies, we have a picture of an expedition that has to do with Asena and the Army of the Eclipse. There are some people in that picture that we could try to ID, and I think that would go a long way to kind of figuring a lot of Asena's very mysterious backstory out, which seems like it's probably going to tie into the greater scheme of things. We were able to get Zorbius's research notes. We did not kill Link Giotto, but we stole his daughter. And we still need to find out about Dre and Warner Dodson, which that is going to be in Thornacre, the mansion proper. Likewise, we know that the column is looking for Sunjia as well as Zorbius, so that's good to know. And we can check out Charlie's old gang down in Aelberg, interrogate them to find out more about Ralsamon. And finally, John has a contact at the police station, Nancy Rain. We could find out what she knows about Lawrence Booker Green.
Will anyone at the police station ever talk to us again after what happened last time?
Well, here's the thing. John Carmichael brought a couple of yahoos in there with him when everything went to hell. And I'm going to say, the only guy there that knew I was there got killed, right? Didn't that guy kill himself?
The mortician?
We went to the...
Yeah.
We used that special, like...
Opal Donahue's calling card.
Yeah. So, like, the people at the front knew. I don't think we gave them names, though.
Well, there was, like, a guy at the front who knew me. So, if anything, he'd be like, hey, John came in here at some point. Like, what was he here for? I'm not really sure. So, here's the thing. John might be wanted for questioning, but that's, John's problem. And I'm...
Okay.
And John snaps his fingers and disguises himself. I'm Juan. Totally not John. I don't have
Mike.
to worry about. Hey, I'm Mike. I don't have to worry about any of that. So we should be okay until that kind of dies down. But yeah, so we got a few different avenues. We are close to Aelberg, so that might be a good place to start.
I still think we should take these kids to the
Donahue
school
Institute.
Donahue Institute for Gifted Children.
Absolutely.
Just trying really hard not to call it the other thing, but you.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
What other thing?
Exactly. Like, whatever.
Is that a time skippable thing, mate? Could we have done
Yeah, absolutely. No, you guys are at a safe point. Like we can everyone can take a long rest. We can show a brief animation of the sun rising and setting, and the story can resume the next day at one of several different places.
Dude, do you have an animation of a sunrise and
No,
sunset?
but I should. This isn't the show with the budget. The show with the studio is the show with the budget. You're confusing this for something else.
Let's see.
Someone sponsor us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait. True.
Now, all that being said, the folks at Carmichael and Carmichael, Charlie and Ben, they are prepared to take all the documents that you and clues that you stole from Zorbius, Brandt, and Lincoln Giotto, and they can compile and analyze those for you if you'd like. But everybody take a long rest, and then as a team, I assume that you all have a conversation at the laboratory warehouse or something like that. But as a team, you can decide where the action resumes the next day or whatnot.
What do we want to do first?
I want to get all my hit points back. That's what I want.
Remember, you can have up to half of your hit dice back, which I think you guys are level 6. So you can have 3 hit dice back, and all your hit points, all your focus points, all your spell points, and other abilities.
And when you take a long rest, you lose temporary hit points, right?
Correct. Any temporary hit points you have go away.
Gotcha. Yeah, so there you go, Asena, you got your health points back. So now what are we gonna do next? Are we gonna go? I feel like I need to fix this machine thingy and maybe read some of these notes?
Yeah, that seems like
Remove it again. Cool. Good thinking.
Were you going to bring that whole pod over to the Donahue Academy?
No, absolutely
I can't get her out of the pod currently. Like, should I just like?
You better not.
Quiet you. So then what is it possible for me to just spend time like reading these notes, trying to figure out if I can actually like stabilize her and then let her out of the pod and she won't instantly die / cease for all you Young Justice fans?
Well, one of the issues going on is that Zorbius was not extensively researching a way to stabilize her outside of the pod. He may have told Mr. Giotto that he was working on something like that, but as long as his Giotto's daughter was dependent on Zorbius, that gave Zorbius leverage over Lincoln to use. I need more resources, I need more time, I need more this, I need more that. So he wasn't exactly.
It seems like if we were to figure out how to keep her alive,
I was just thinking,
yeah,
we did it, huh? And then Lincoln Giotto would owe me a favor, which would be a very private conversation at an undisclosed location.
And the column wouldn't need Zorbius anymore.
Exactly. It's just so many birds.
Mm-hmm.
So many birds.
With only one stone.
Is that a thing? With only one Gastone.
Hey!
Take inspiration for that. Take inspiration for that.
Yeah, is that a thing I can do? Can I figure this out? Can I spend a day, 3 days, however many days?
It's going to take more than a day.
Yeah.
Essentially, this is something that every time you guys go on an adventure and come back and have some downtime, you're going to make incremental progress on this. I also want you to think about, just like if you have any cool thematic lore or science ideas of how to do this, what's going on is that she's sort of merging into shadow. And it's unknown what will happen if she completely merges into shadow. Light helps keep her stabilized. An absence of, like, if she was ever plunged into 100% darkness, Zorbius theorizes that she would become entirely incorporeal. She's demonstrated no ability to control her powers, so it's not like she can choose, I want to phase back to physical from incorporeal. Which is part of the reason why the phytoplankton light goo was surrounding her, just to keep her constantly illuminated from every angle so that she didn't evaporate.
Is it like what would her controlling her powers like actually look like? Like what can she do with them? Like any sort of potential.
Completely unknown. You don't have a lot of information about the gifted and their special abilities. Matt has some information. John would definitely know a thing or two, but the problem is there are so many different powers that have manifested. Every single one looks different. John Carmichael once helped a young lady whose voice and music controlled fire. So that wasn't a matter, that was a matter of her, okay, when I sing this note, this happens. So I just have to carefully learn how to modulate my voice and not blow anything up. So everybody's powers are controlled in a completely different way. And because she's been kept unconscious to prevent her from, essentially being in sensory deprivation for 4 years and losing it, she's had no opportunity to experiment with said powers because there's no way for her, so far, there's no way for her to be stable outside of the pod. So nobody's even been able to talk to her to be like, all right, what does it feel like? Can you control it with your mind? Can you control it with your, with anything like that? It's very much an unknown.
So how much of this substance do I have currently based on what I stole from Zorbius's lab? The light plasmic whatever thing is called, you know what I'm talking about?
Well, it's going to take you some research because you don't know if it goes bad at this time. You don't know how much of it they have to pipe in. It's possible that Zorbius was keeping it preserved or keeping it vital somehow with some of his substances. So it may be that you don't need more of the light goo. It may be that you need some other chemical compound to keep it from dying and going out.
Ooh, okay. So I want to know if I can figure out something like that, and that's perfect because the idea I had is, what if I made a suit for her, lined with it, more like a diver suit, and it's up to the neck, lined with that substance. And if there's a way where I could make it last, where I don't need to keep changing it out, here's your daily refill of volcanic underwater goo, then I think that's a thing we could probably do. And then, once we get her out into the world like an actual person, we can kind of worry about figuring out her powers then.
You want to tally Zora her. That's what you're thinking about.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I want to do. Oh my God.
Good reference.
Yes.
No inspiration, but I do tip my hat to you, sir.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yes, something along those lines.
I also could assist. John has a plethora of spells that, while not usually permanent, if I cast them over the course of a long period of time, or possibly go on some kind of cool quest that the DM deems worthy, I might be able to find a way to use one of my spells to help her.
You did just find an orb of sunlight in the basement.
That's true.
Good thing I didn't break that.
That would have been very unfortunate. And we can. I think what we're looking at here is that Gastone and John are going to be running a lot of scientific and magical tests/experiments on this little lady to kind of figure out what is going to work to help her, either temporarily or permanently.
All right. It's up to you to decide how much time you want to invest in that. Again, my thought is basically we'll do one of our investigation scenes, side quest things, and then you'll make some progress on it, and we'll do another, and you'll make some progress on it, and then we'll do another, and you'll make some rolls, and depending on those rolls or whatever other creativity you apply to it, we'll decide, like, do you have a fully functional suit? Do you have a partially functional suit? Et cetera, et cetera. Matt, go.
Oh, I was going to say, Asena is really good at healing people, so that might also be applicable. Maybe bring a little nature into this dark, twisted nether of darkness.
That is true. That is true.
I don't know if I'm good at it, but I did it once.
Close enough.
But the other thing too is, I imagine this will take a lot of time. What's like our list of priorities right now? What's our timeline looking like? We know, or we have suspects who we think the angel killers are. At this point, like, we're borderline certain of it, and we need to start looking into those people at the same time too. Like, was it the mayor and the mayor's son?
So Gianni Pavlo, under compulsion, revealed that the mastermind behind the angel killers is Dre Dodson, the mayor's bastard son. Nobody seems to know anything about this guy. Like, there's not that a huge amount of investigation has been done. Ben has been doing some looking into it, as has Charlie. But like, this guy is largely kept out of the public eye. There's not a lot of information available about him. But according to Gianni Pavlo, he has power over life and death. So, he's supposedly the mastermind behind this. You don't know why. You know that the killings are being executed in accordance with the 8 evil thoughts, and the last one is pride. You know that the victims are turned into the undead, both the ones who are selected and deemed worthy and the ones who are deemed failures. They both become the undead, but in different forms. So, you also know that the killings started shortly after the Mercury City Hospital bombing, which was supposedly connected to the Army of the Eclipse. And that's the target is suspected to have been the mortician, the medical examiner at the Mercury City Hospital, Lawrence Booker Green, who went missing shortly after. You also know that Dre Dodson was meeting with Lincoln Giotto over something. You don't know what. That was basically, you had a choice. You could go up into Thornacre or you could go down. You went down, you discovered the laboratory of Dr. Xorbius Branton, a bunch of his stuff. You've not yet discovered the connection between Dre Dodson and Lincoln Giotto. So Dre Dodson, the angel killer, or the mastermind behind the angel killers, is still a mystery. That is why you have other leads that are connecting to the Society of the Eclipse, the Army of the Eclipse, which is also connected to the Mysterious Expedition. And the Mysterious Expedition has a possible connection to the appearance of all the gifted in Northport. So, yeah, there's a lot going on.
From what it sounds like, we have a few other things that we can start moving into. I feel like going after the picture is a good idea. I feel like checking up on Rosamond and Nancy, kind of get a lot of the good background stuff. And after looking through this quite a bit, we might have enough time to be able to make some headway with Florence. And if we can aid Florence and make things a lot easier or better for her, and if Giotto no longer needs Zorbius, he'll likely be willing to possibly give us some details on what's going on with Dre and his father. That would be kind of, I think, a nice, good little bit of wiggle room. And if everything goes horrible, we could just kill him and just take what we need anyway. He's not a very good guy, so wouldn't feel too terrible about doing that.
So, first of all, I like that you're coming around with me on this, Mr. Carmichael. The other thing is, do we even need to use Florence in such a way? Can't we just go back? Like how hard was it for us to get into Thornacre the first time? I imagine we can do it again.
Thornacre is going to be on high alert now.
Don't you
But
think
they
they've
won't have
noticed
robots.
that she's missing?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but if we show back up, they're not going to be like, hey, people we've never seen before, you obviously took Florence Giotto. Like, come on.
Oh, we could totally sneak in there. We could probably go through the front door this time rather than going down that sub entrance.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, maybe not the first thing we do, but I feel like, it's a little up there on the list. Obviously, on top of helping Florence, we need to, because the only connection we have to the mayor's son is Lincoln Giotto, and I doubt his daughter knows anything about it.
Probably not. She's been locked up for 4 years, I think, right?
Yep. Which is why we got to deal with that.
The only other information that you have about Dre Dodson, it's sort of a slim connection. If he's behind the angel killings are being performed in accordance with ancient Zolkuian mythology, and the Army of the Eclipse launched that expedition to a Zolkuian ruin 23 years ago. And the Army of the Eclipse is linked to the Mercury City Hospital bombing. It's a thin thread, but it is like one of the unanswered questions right now. Like Dre Dodson and Lincoln Giotto, that's the strongest connection you have right now. The Army of the Eclipse is a question mark, but it's also there.
How would we go about approaching them? Because I know anything about that? I doubt it.
John has some leads, but Ben and Charlie have been doing some investigation for you. So if you will direct your eyes to the map.
Ooh, my eyes are being directed by my face.
That's generally how that works. All right, so you're wherever you want to be, because we're in narrative time right now. So here are your leads right now. First off, Nancy Rain, the police investigator, the detective. She's the detective who was in charge of the Mercury City Hospital bombing case 6 months ago, maybe 10 months ago now. She was taken off the case when the department took over. She is a friend. She's willing to meet if you meet her at Christoph's cemetery. No witnesses, come alone. Just the lot of you. She does not want the rest of the police department to know about it. You don't have to walk down to the station.
Okay.
So,
also, cool little bit of information for you, Senna. I haven't been able to verify this, but I did some snooping around when I found out a little more about Miss Rain, and she supposedly was raised by wolves, very similar to you. So you guys might have, it could just be, some kind of weird rumor to help, keep her tough on the beat. But you guys might have some common ground there.
Imagine.
Interesting. It seems like a lot of the places that we can go lead to more information about me. So I'm cool with that.
So you've got Nancy Rain. If you want to find out more about the Army of the Eclipse, the Carrington family. After the bombings happened, Foster Talon, the investigative reporter who was killed at the very beginning of our adventure, he was convinced the Carringtons were part of the Army of the Eclipse, even though they were officially cleared, and they sued the crap out of him for publishing those articles. There are 3 primary members of the Carrington family. John has encountered or made contact with all of them, though things are a little bit rocky right now. You could talk to Jasmine Ruiz. Let's go in order of age. First off, you've got old Aloysius Carrington. They're a very wealthy family. He's the patriarch of the family. He is known to dabble in the occult and esoteric mysteries. He's actually sponsored a recent expedition to Zolquia as well. You've got his daughter-in-law, Jasmine Ruiz Carrington, who lives in a Newton penthouse. Then you've got Philip Carrington, who is dating Opal Donahue, the lady you met who sponsors the Donahue Institute for Gifted Youngsters. Not Hara, the badass headmistress, but like the nicer lady who you met who funds the place. She's the one who gave you the calling card. So her boyfriend, Philip Carrington.
Didn't you used to date her, John?
No, not really. I mean, don't worry about it.
She's got a new boyfriend.
Look, I'm not saying I dislike Philip, but he's also kind of a dick. So, there's that.
Nah, it doesn't help.
I'm gonna elbow, or we're probably narrative, but I'm gonna elbow.
Narrative means you can, in fact, elbow him, because you could say that you're in the office of Carmichael and Carmichael. You could be at the wound, like wherever you want to set the scene.
I'm gonna elbow Gastone, just be like, he's jealous. I think he's jealous. We should go there.
You're definitely right. Really? That's all. That's all.
The only thing that I'm upset about is the fact that I've lost a very, very good contact because Opal opened a lot of doors for me. But yeah, no, I don't.
Want to open those doors?
I'm sure she
again?
did. Oh.
Hey, no, I'm okay. But if we can somehow snub, Mr. Phillip during any point of this, I will not be untoward by that.
What if we did here, then here, then here, then here kind of thing?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Maybe Opal will be there, and we could tell her about
how cool he is, how cool John is.
Yeah.
I mean, we could be good friends and do that, but we could tell her about Florence, and maybe she could help us figure out something.
Maybe
to take her out of the pod.
That's true. I mean, here's the thing. I think that would actually cater to her taste, and she has the funds and the capital to make Gastone's research probably quite a bit easier. So that's a good point.
You will be making contact with her at some point because you've got like 4 or 5 other gifted. You've got Extra, Quirk, and the 3 others who I'm sure all have very interesting and cool names. I figured out their powers, but I may not have figured out their names just yet.
What? Those are their cool nicknames. Those are their aliases.
No. Extra and Quirk I've got, but there were 3 others. One of them had antenna. One of them had like a huge tongue that you rolled back up and stuffed in his mouth.
Yeah.
And the other
I was trying to buy you some time.
From one DM to another, I appreciate it. A couple of other leads that you have, options that you have. So you could talk to Nancy Rain. You could talk to the Carringtons, however you want to go about it.
Mm-hmm.
You could face the Freaks, which is a street gang in Asena's territory. Charlie's brother is caught up with them, and they should leave you. They are working for Ralzamon.
Okay, I think first things first.
One more.
Oh, sorry, go on.
No, that's fine. John has worked in the past with Professor Strickland at Northport Provincial University. Professor Strickland is...
You mean Professor Snape has worked?
Yes.
Professor Strickland.
Under one of his aliases, Professor Snape has worked with Professor Strickland, who is a teacher of Zolquian antiquity. And he might be able to shed some light on the mysterious expedition, what they were looking for, or perhaps the Army of the Eclipse. So, that being said, those are your leads.
Glorious.
So I think first we should probably go to the Institute for Kids, and we should take
the what? I'm sorry, Gaston. Where are we going again?
The Institute for Gifted Youngsters.
Thank you.
Is that actually what it's called?
No, we're gonna go with the Donahue Academy for the Gifted. That's what we're gonna go for.
Academy for the Gifted. Okay, yeah. We should go to the Donahue Academy.
Write it down.
For the Gifted. Written. No, I got it. I've said it 3 times, and because we should take the kids, who at least can walk themselves there, to that place, and then I'm gonna tell them, hey, we have another one, but that's a little more complicated.
Yeah.
And we'll see what they think. Yeah, because I mean, like, right now, I imagine wherever it is we have a bunch of gifted, like, teenagers that we're not equipped to deal with. Let's be honest.
That is very true. So we took care of the gangster. We are taking care of Quirk, Extra, and the other gifted. Now we need to figure out what to do with Saul. If you guys have any idea. Oh, Saul is so here's the thing. He's a bit of a complicated man. But
I'm not that complicated.
Well, I mean, you kind of are. You got booby traps and weird stuff that kind of frazzled me on one of our first meetings. But you know what? Aside from that, he's a pretty okay-ish guy. I mean, here's the thing. He was a smuggler, and now this not so good. He was basically taking gifted kids to Zorbius in order to be like unlocked or like improved. I don't know exactly. And Saul, you never really talked about it. Why did you do that? Did he threaten you? Was he giving you money? Like, I'm sure you weren't like down with what was happening, right?
Well, by the time I figured out what I'd gotten into, I thought I was just transporting people from point A to point B. And then I figured out those folk were under duress. And then I figured out that I was working for Zorbius. And then I figured out that if I stopped taking his money and stopped delivering for him, something awful was going to happen to me. So I kept doing it.
Yeah, that tracks.
That's right.
Now, here's the thing. I know that you, a while ago, had skipped town, but then you said for some reason you were compelled, it sounds like, by Ralzamon to come back to Northport and get captured by the column. Are you worried that's going to happen again if you try and hit town?
I don't know, man. I mean, maybe I'm burned at this point, Maybe they all know my face and it won't matter anymore, but I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. If you want...
Why don't you just work with you?
That's what I was going to... Gastone, You are right there, man. Absolutely. I was going to say, you can come work for me and I could provide you... I could go ahead and make some cool little mind-blocking charm for you. Put that under your pillow at night and kind of help keep the bad things away. And as long as you can, work off your debt with me, I'd be very happy to employ you.
John, roll persuasion check.
Yes, please. We took a long rest, right? You said?
Yep.
And I'm assuming anything that happens during this prologue period is going to carry over to our actual game, right?
Yeah.
Cool. You know what? I don't need his help. I'm not going to waste anything I don't need. I've already given my my best foot forward on this, so you can take a 20. There you go.
Dirty 20. All right.
Dirty 20.
He's hoping you mean actual employment because, he doesn't want to live in poverty. He's out for money and stuff. But at the same time, he's also... Asena can sympathize. The experience of having Ralzamon invade your mind is traumatic. And he's not interested in repeating that. His specialty really is, on the water, though. So he's down to work for you, but he'd prefer to be kept in a way where he can, pilot a boat, run through the docks. That's where he's going to be the most effective.
So he's a dock smuggler, but his criminal contacts and skills don't extend beyond that?
Oh, they do. That's just where he's most comfortable.
It's a specialty.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know of a whole lot of dock-based stuff that we're doing. So, I mean, it might get to there, but I'm thinking unless we can find you a reason to go down to the docks, you're probably going to have to hit the streets, my friend, and kind of expand your repertoire.
Yeah, all right.
Don't get me wrong. If there's anything in and around the piers and dockside, I'd be happy to make sure you're our man. But unless, Senna and Gastone have something going on there, I don't.
And where am I going to stay?
Well... we have some options depending on what my associates are willing to contribute, but there's always room for you at the Essex Hotel.
I got a cave.
It's not really a cave.
It's kind of a cave.
There's no lights, so it's kind of true.
That sounds like a cave to me. And you know what? I have a lot of lights and a lot of lamps.
Are you okay plugging them in and turning them on? Because I don't think Saul can see in the dark.
I just haven't figured that part out yet.
Hey, Saul, that's something you could do. You could teach Asena how to use electricity.
Mother of God.
Actually, Asena's cave is right down by the Kugel River, off of Aelberg. So if we could, if Asena doesn't mind, you can kind of be a roommate, keep an eye on her place, maybe kind of fix it up a little bit, modernize it. And you could kind of keep an eye on the the comings and goings along the river, and kind of report back to us on what you see going on.
Wait. You want me to live in Aelberg?
Look, I want you to live in Aelberg. It's an option. I'm giving you options, Saul.
I'm sure it's a nice cave, lady. No offense, but I'm going to take a pass on that.
I mean, it's right next to the water.
What's wrong with Aelberg?
I mean,
I like it there. Ain't no one gonna bother you in Aelberg.
That's because no one bothers you in Aelberg, specifically.
Yeah, but if Senna spends an afternoon punching everybody and points like, hey, this guy earns you a punch, I'm sure he'll probably be okay.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
I have full confidence in your abilities to do that. I'm still going to take the pass. You've got the freaks on the loose. You've got all sorts of street gangs on the loose. It's just... I'm not that desperate.
You're not that desperate? You got Rosamond sending you back to the column on the daily, and you're not that desperate?
Yeah, and an offer for a crappy hotel room.
There is the crappy hotel room. There is the crappy hotel room.
I think we have done the best we could. All I really have to say to you, Saul, is sucks to suck. Can't take any of these offers, then goodbye.
Yeah, he'll post up at the Essex Hotel and make himself comfortable.
Okay.
Perfect. I still do want you going up and down the river and kind of keeping an eye out for things. And if I have specific jobs for you, we'll let you know. And if you can kind of keep your ear and your eye onto the more seedier practices happening in and around Northport, just give us a heads up.
Oh yeah, he'll keep his ear to the water. He's not a river dwarf, so he can't talk to the water, but he'll do the next best thing.
And I figure we'll just keep it pretty loosey-goosey. I figure the more you are able to accomplish and help us with, the faster that's going to go to paying off your debt and earning you some actual capital.
Why do you do this in every campaign, Matt?
I don't know what you mean. You mean save people? You mean save people and then take their goods and or services and applying them to our cause?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like that's a pretty worthwhile thing.
Indentured servitude is a business model. All right.
Whoa!
What would
Is that why we captured so many people? I mean, saved people?
No, they're going to the Donahue Institute. Not whatever this is.
All right. So, all that being said and done, what would you like to do?
I say Donahue Institute. Thoughts, feelings, agreement.
Do you want to just in between stuff drop the kids off, or do you actually want to have a scene confronting the Carrington / talking to Opal about your idea?
Aren't those two technically in two separate places?
No, that's one of there's 3 different Carrington meetups, so that is one of the 3.
Oh, I mean, then it would be cool if we did both then, because
Would you mind beating up some freaks on the way since it's so close to here?
Yeah.
Keep in mind, if you go after the freaks, that's going to be a combat scene. It's going to take some time.
Sure.
I'll tell you what I'd like to do. Oh, no, go ahead, please.
It might be good to face the freaks while we have Quirk and Extra.
That's what I was thinking, while we have allies.
Okay.
And then we go to the Donahues after.
Okay.
But
So
then Miss
Really
Opal
trying to make
might
these
think
kids
that we
fight.
just beat them all up and they come in bad condition.
I mean, that would be our fault too, because why are we bringing teenagers to essentially fight crime with us? That doesn't sound right. Many comic books have taught me that is not good.
I mean, they're super good.
I mean,
that's kind of their
not true.
thing.
Most of them have taught me they're a good thing, but select Batman comics have taught me that's a bad thing.
Also, guys, I think we also are missing, the red herring in the room. We haven't asked any of these kids if they actually want to go there. I know that for sure.
That's true, because I didn't want to stay.
Yeah, I know that Quirk, she does not sound like. I mean, here's the thing: she would be kind of the outlier, and they'd have a whole segment about her getting together and meeting up with people and making friendships, but also kind of not having a good time with them. Then there'd be some really crazy things. Someone would attack the school. Everyone would get together, and she'd come and she'd save the day. I'm like, oh, you're really cool. Actually, this will work out. But barring that, she'd probably have a crappy time there. And Extra had a life before this. He actually probably wants to get back to his people, considering they tore ass into the beggar prince's area to grab him. So
wait, aren't Extra's people like mobsters or something?
Not really. No, they fight mobsters. They're like the under people. They're like the mole people of Northport, you know? They're the vagabonds and they're the sewer rats, you know?
Are the kids in the room with us?
Your call.
Hopefully not.
I'm gonna say yes. Hey kids, where do you want to go?
I mean, has anybody explained the school to them by this point, or no?
Oh yeah.
Also, are the other two awake?
Yeah, they wake up after a while. The other three, actually.
All right. Okay, I'll give them the TLDR. Long story short, there's this rich woman, Donahue, has a school. It's for kids like you with powers. Get to live there. They take care of you. You learn how to get used to your whole business with the powers and the stuff like that. Does that sound good? Is there anything else you guys want to do? I don't know.
Extra is like, hey, like a big old fancy house with big old glass windows and green lawns and food every day.
Food. Yep.
Not living in a sewer.
Have you been there? That is what it looks like.
No, I've heard folk talking about it.
That's the one.
Sounds kind of nice. You know, maybe I want to get asked to make giant alligators eat people as much.
I would actually love it very much if you stopped doing that. Funny enough.
Now, you know what? That alligator was actually a really nice girl.
She was, but think about it. He compelled her to do bad things. We don't like that, right, Asena?
I'm just letting him know that the alligator's okay.
You're right.
I mean, eating gangsters, bad things,
that's not that bad. I mean, good point. Good point. What if it's a nice person next time that he forces her to eat?
I mean, maybe.
You never know.
Yeah, Extra, you are exactly right. This is kind of like your big score, unless there's people back where you come from that are super going to miss you and you're going to miss them. Is that a thing?
He thinks about it for a moment. You can see a little wistfulness, a little sadness go across his face. But it doesn't last long. He's got a real Oliver Twist thing going on. And his conflicted loyalties are not going to keep him away from a roof over his head. You know what I mean? That isn't dripping with sewage.
Now, secondarily I think it's Caspian, the prince. Is he going to be incredibly upset if he finds out that,
Yeah, Cassius isn't going to be a huge fan.
But I mean, you did get captured, so...
Oh, yeah. Captured, never to be seen again. Where did he go?
Exactly. You just change your name, man. Put on a new super suit.
Free man.
Yeah! You could change your name to Freeman. You could be Gordon Freeman or something. I don't know.
Name's got a ring to it.
I was with you until then.
I'm not sure about the Gordon part. I like the rest of it, though. Yeah, no, Extra's 100% in.
Okay, cool.
What about Quirk and Thing 1 and Thing 2? Isn't Thing 3 Florence?
Go again?
I thought there was 3 plus Florence. Is there 3 plus Florence?
Yeah, there's 3 plus Florence.
Oh, okay.
We've got Tongue, Blades, and Small, I think.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so the other, like Sebastian, the one with the claws, doesn't really have a great life, running around Northport with claws for hands. It sort of makes you an outcast. So a place where you're going to be home and be taken care of and not be seen as a freak, that's a win. That's a 100% win. That's an easy sell. Same for definitely not Toad. Walking around with that, it makes life difficult. It comes with a pretty heavy speech impediment as well. So doesn't have the best of lives.
John's going to approach definitely not Toad and Sebastian, put a hand on their shoulders, and say, they're both guys, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Gentlemen, this is going to be your key to serenity. First of all, Opal and the rest of them are going to take very good care of you. You guys aren't really going to want for much, and there are some rules you have to follow, but you can get put on a path that, regardless of what you decide to do, is going to be an excellent use of your time and a great path towards your future. But no matter what, and this is going to get reinforced there, but I just want you to know, no matter what, don't let anybody get you down for the way that you look or the way that you are. We can't help the way that we're born or the things that are forced upon us, whether through molecular changes or circumstance. So just be proud of what you've got going on, and you'll grow into it. Don't worry about it.
Says the normal looking guy.
Got him.
John is going to not do anything. He'll take the Snyder mark in stride.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, book by its cover and all that, but what I'm getting at is things are going to get better moving on forward. You'll have a family, at least of sorts. So I don't know where you came from or what was going on beforehand, but this is going to be a good start. And again, it's not like you're signing any kind of crazy contract, and no one's going to come hunting you down if you decide to leave. If things aren't the way that you want it to be, you can always make a change. And I'm going to turn over and at the end of that, look over at Quirk.
Nice roll persuasion check. I like it.
Thank you. Boop, 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 boop. And this one I am going to use a deduction dice on. Because I really hope this girl makes a good decision for herself. I don't know where that went.
You got an
Here
8.
Yeah, I saw it.
An 8?
Yep.
Even with my deduction dice?
The deduction dice didn't get added.
Okay, let me /roll. I thought I have it set to do that, but I guess it didn't work. A 2, so that would be a
10.
And I'm going to go ahead and use one of my lucky dice and roll another d20 and take the better.
All right. And you're going to add 2 to this because the deduction dice applies to this.
Yes. So let's try that again. Persuasion.
All right. At first, she does the the whole like blowing her bangs in scorn thing.
Yeah.
Then thinks more on it. Kind of sits down, mulls over some stuff from her past, and then begrudgingly, fine, I'll go along, but I don't promise to like it.
You literally don't have to. I'm just glad you're going somewhere with a meal and a roof over your head.
As you're having this conversation, sorry, go ahead, Gastone.
I was gonna say, I mean, it'd be kind of cool if you liked it, but yeah, if you don't.
Agreed.
But I don't have to.
No.
No.
It's actually kind of cooler if you don't, but then grow into it eventually. Like I said, if there was that whole, arc where you ended up saving the school for some reason,
This guy, where did you find him? What's going on? The last...
He kind of found us.
He just showed up one day.
I did actually literally do that.
The last one that you rescued is a 12-year-old girl, and she's just sort of sitting there. Like, where is the scene at the moment? Party's choice.
I feel like we're still at the warehouse unless you guys really want to be somewhere else.
Not
All right.
particularly.
What's something that would be lying around on your tool table of discarded experiments?
Ooh.
Or in-progress experiments?
I was going to say the little bits of a android helper I'm trying to make.
Oh.
I think I left probably the ice gun thing that I also have. I would like to change it so there is no backpack.
Modifications, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Stuff like that. Bunch of tools.
All right. As you're having this conversation, you look over and you notice the last girl. She's got like a piece of the faceplate for your android helper in her mouth, and she's just sort of like.
Oh no!
Hey, no, wait, please, no, don't eat
Greatest
that.
of all time.
You take it?
Yeah, I just take it.
She scowls at
Okay?
you.
Are you hungry? I have food. This is not food.
Is the plate like chewed on? Like actually like?
Oh, it's got a little slobber on it.
Oh, okay. I thought she literally like had like goat eating powers, like the guy. That,
No, it seems to be fine.
I like her.
Oh wait, I genuinely ask her, like, are you hungry? I have food. Food.
Don't make him go in the water. He doesn't like that. And she gets up and walks over to join the others.
Don't make who get in the water.
She does not respond to your question.
That's what you
Hold
get,
on a second. Hold on a second.
Is she talking about the android?
Don't make him. You said don't make him go in the water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't like that. Okay, noted.
Yeah.
Hey, mate, what's her nickname?
She doesn't have one.
Also, what do you
Her name
do?
is Sally. Her real name is Sally, but no superhero made-up name.
I see. And do we know what she does?
She looks completely normal.
But she was just chewing on one of your things, so...
And she speaks rather normally. Can I, like, scan the mask thing?
Sure. Roll a science check. As you bust out your little scanner, it's got the arms that pop up like in Ghostbusters, makes the tricorder noise. You don't detect anything weird about the faceplate.
Huh. Okay. Yeah.
You better watch out, Gastone.
Apparently.
So she just said that thing and then went to join the others and just seems totally cool with going
Walked
along.
away.
Yeah, like she's been totally not included in most of the conversation and all these inspiring speeches and stuff. She's just been over there like chewing on this piece of metal, and then she just, as it gets snatched away, she gets up and goes over and just joins everyone else to go to the academy.
I have this whole thing planned where I'd go up to Asena and be like, "Hey, you're up," and then she could one-on-one with Sally. Gosh darn it! Sally seems totally upset as Allie, man.
Hey,
You can't just take things out of people's mouths. That's like some primal nature shit going on.
Joe, can
Yes.
I, since we're kind of in still this narrative state, can I say I've spent time building something?
Yeah.
It's just, okay, I would like to have built a sort of, I don't know, it's almost like a pager. It's a little thing with a button on it that and that button will send a signal to a little thing I have, and then I can track the little button. See where I'm going with this?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I would like to pull Quark aside and just say something. Listen, hear me out. You seem very skeptical. I like that. I'm pulling you aside because I'm going to give you this. I have literally no reason to believe this, but something bugs me just a little tiny bit about the Donahue Institute. So, go there. If you run into a problem, if you see something weird, press the button. I can come find you. And I'll bring these two.
She seems to like having a secret. She's into that. That makes her feel a lot happier. So she's totally down.
Okay. Cool. And I tell no one else about that.
All right. What are you doing with Florence, who's still in the glowing pod?
I'm like debating. I still want to start working on this like diver suit sort of idea before leaving. And then, once we eventually make our way to the Donahue Institute, get their input, see what they think. And I either continue or pivot depending on that conversation.
Okay, I mean, you can definitely spend some time sketching designs, working on the hydraulics that's going to pump the fluid through the suit, filtration systems, sealing. You spend some time on your drafting table, scribbling things, chewing your pencil, going, no, that won't work, scratching things out in frustration, that whole thing.
I think above all else, or maybe at the same time or as soon as these designs are done, the thing I need to know, like the biggest thing I need to understand and would like to spend time on is, can I reuse this fluid?
Okay, roll a science check.
Okay. Because then, I have the diver suit where it just keeps on circulating, and I don't have to actually replace anything.
Okay, so the fluid has a couple of different elements to it. One is the luminescent properties. And the luminescent properties, they are not indefinite. They do wear out over time. With the right chemical compounds, you can make them last longer. However, those chemical compounds are also toxic to humans.
She's not human, though. Well, is but isn't.
She's a metahuman, She's
You know
still.
what I mean, though?
She has a fundamentally human biology, and there's no.
Okay.
Zorbius's notes don't say anything about whether she's negatively affected by toxins and shit. the other thing is, she was her when she's in the pod unconscious, it's also got nutrients and oxygenation imbued into it. And so that wears out. That has to be renewed because essentially that's her oxygen supply and her food. And it has to be very carefully. Go again.
Sorry, I was just going to say, once we get her out of there, that's less of a thing because if her biology is still fundamentally human, she can just eat.
Right, but you'll need to make sure that, like, when she takes off her helmet, she's still got light sources on her face and stuff when she eats.
Well, see, I was thinking of, like, making this suit. Maybe I should just have it with a helmet, too. Yeah, never mind. I like that idea. But I mean, you can... on the side. I'd kind of like to do it where at least the head is exposed, if you will. If there's a way I can do that.
Well, according with the help of Zorbius's notes, you've concluded that if you're going to leave the head exposed, you're going to have like floodlights on all angles of her somehow to stop her from fading.
What if you came up with a really cool, I know that you have this amazing manipulative fabric that you concocted. What if you made her a helmet kind of based on that? It was almost like a fabric of some kind that has a transparency property to it, to where she can wear that like a helmet. The helmet itself is made up almost like has like a hexagon frame that goes everywhere with little lights along the hexagon that illuminates her. And you can make it to where the fabric is able to either stretch, move away, or possibly even invert itself to where she can open up either a portion of it or a lot of it and then still keep a lot of that frame with the light on her. So that way she could easily talk, speak, let's do the same thing. Talk, eat, etc., whatever needs it to be off, but you still have this nice network that could protect her. So that way the lights someone doesn't just pop the floodlights and now she's going to die.
That's not a bad idea. I like that a lot, actually.
John mentioning fabric reminds Asena about like what she found.
Yeah.
Something like this. I found this thing.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know either. It's just this. I don't know. It's kind of hard fabric. I picked it up.
Where'd you
know
find
what it is? In the lab place.
Can I analyze it?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted John to look at it, but sure, you can.
We could all look at it together.
That works too. Is that should I roll for this?
Roll science.
Mate, would I be able to assist him since I'm pretty good at all that stuff as well?
Yeah, John's going to go ahead, and one of the things that John is useful for is that his magic, he's not as good at science as you are, but his magic can sort of overcome certain limitations, like looking inside of things, providing you with additional information that your instruments can't collect. So using his magical skills and his decent knowledge of science, he's going to give you advantage on this check. So roll again and take the better of the two. Because you rolled a 3 and then a natural 20. Okay, cool.
Booyah!
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
As Gastone's looking it over, John's like, oh, wait a minute, and spins off some kind of weird, like, Pythagorean theorem thing. You forgot to apply this, and then also detect magic and whatever else I need to do.
All right. The function of this patch, it merges with armor, whatever kind of armor you have, and turns that armor invisible for 24 hours.
What?
Yeah.
This is the thing I can replicate?
Yeah, it's something you could replicate.
Fabric is like your specialty, so that's amazing.
And definitely, we got quite the list of things to do, but that is on there now.
And because this technology has to do with making light pass through material, that could be particularly helpful for your research into this light suit.
Very interesting.
John looks over at Asena and then just dashes over to her, wraps his arms around her, and does one of those pick-up hug swings, sets her down, and it's just, that's amazing! I don't know where you found that, but keen eye, that is going to be the linchpin of what we need to make this work.
Probably.
Thank you.
Asena will she was like this the whole time as she was being picked up. She's just like, "You're welcome."
So
I'm pretty good at finding things.
Oh yeah. Speaking of finding things, I actually found a really good thing that we can have Saul do. Hey, Mr. Henning, so here's what I'm thinking. You are extremely good at smuggling people. You also specialize in water stuff. There are only 2 bridges from Dyed Sock to Tide Point and Gloverton to Bochard that allow safe travel. We have an area down in the Garment District, up in the Harbor District, over in Aylburg. Those are all places near the water, but where there is no easy access bridge. So what if we can maybe have Gastone make up some kind of cool tracking device with like maybe a little sensor for you, and maybe we could communicate with you and have you come and be like a water taxi for us. And that'll be, you can do anything else in your off time, but when we need a water taxi to quickly get us across without utilizing one of these bridges, you could be our man. How does that sound?
Saul looks at John, mulls it over, looks at Asena, looks at Gastone. Anyone else hear him call it sock diet or something like that?
What?
No, just
What?
me.
No.
Okay.
And that also went right over my head, buddy.
Don't worry about it.
In exchange,
Dyed sock.
make
He said
sure-
dyed sock. That's right. Yeah, he said no, sir. I'd be happy to do that, sir. Totally fine, sir. Happy to help.
excellent. And I don't know how long it would take me, mate, to do a very similar charm that I made for both Charlie and I, but I'd like to put something together for him to help him against Ralzamon's incursions.
All right, you have time to do that during this time period. You get some pieces of amethyst, make a little amulet. Cool.
Awesome.
Anything else, team? Having Saul will help it so that whenever you're like trying to get around town under duress, it'll be a lot easier.
Yes, that's kind of what I was thinking.
That's
and
smart.
It's a little less open-ended than do criminal crime stuff with us.
Be Saul, do crimes. So what would the team like to do?
I want to go beat up some gangsters and then go talk to Donahue.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
I mean,
Let's get one more punching round in with our friends before we drop them.
Right? Hey, Sebastian and Not Toad, how do you guys feel about punching some gangsters?
Not really our thing.
Not your thing? What is your thing?
I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to be a kid, and I have these claws.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Does that
difficult.
toad do anything?
As it is. What's up?
Oh, Gastone, you first.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is kind of why I said we should probably go to Donahue's first. I mean, gangsters are gonna be here, but the kids don't need to be here.
I
Okay,
completely agree.
Valid point. What if something happens to one of them?
That's what I'm saying. You wouldn't let me. You almost fought me to not remove Florence, and now you're okay with kids fighting
That's
crime. Like,
different.
pick a lane,
You were gonna
Asena.
Kill her.
John's going to look over at the kids and go, wait, 1 second. He's going to pull Asena and Gastone aside. So I totally get your reservations, Gastone. But here's the thing. And he kind of just gestures to the 3 of us. We just broke into Thornacre, busted all these kids out, killed robots, scientists, gangsters, and everything in between. And now we're going to go beat up some gangsters. I think we've got it covered.
That's my point. I gestured to the 3 of us and got it covered because we did the majority of that by ourselves.
Absolutely. But come on, you don't think the kids want one last cool ride?
I
You
think
just
that
asked
they're
them and they
way
said no.
better than us. Okay, we need to check ourselves. These are very strong and talented children.
Like that.
Okay. So here's the thing. I'm not big on using and abusing people's gifts. However,
Good.
if I don't get to see...
You aren't?
Huh? What?
I
if
thought
I
that
don't
was
get-
your whole thing.
Do not
I
run
don't
that past
see-
Hara. Do not run this past Hara.
If I don't get to see Extra tell a bunch of gangsters to pull their pants down or something before we turn him in, I'll be very, very sorely unhappy.
I mean, if that's all you want.
Sounds wrong.
Honestly, I just love Extra's power. I think that is one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
Well, you could always check in after he's had a training montage at the Institute. And become even more powerful.
Yeah, and let him tell me that it's okay to not just kill gangsters, but do crime. No, thank you. I must stay far away from him once we drop him off there. This kid's the purple man waiting to happen.
Yeah.
He's like, if you took the Scarlet Witch and the Purple Man, put them together, that's extra, but like itty bitty right now.
Kind of, yeah. If you took
I'm
the
saying all
reality
this as
stone,
gone, by the way.
all right, then nobody knows what the hell you're talking about.
No one has any idea what the hell I'm talking about.
What?
Can confirm.
A couple of other gifts that I ran into. Don't worry about it.
There's a witch somewhere.
Yeah, a red witch.
But then, okay, final thoughts? Let's just ask the kids what they want to do.
Yeah, all right. John goes moping back to the crowd.
Quirk is itching for a fight. Quirk is itching for a fight and to maybe, steal some valuables because she didn't really get a chance to go upstairs in Thornacre and get the jewelry or anything like that. Extra, again, he's just thinking about hot meals and soft beds and not being used to fight people anymore. He just wants to find a home.
And Sebastian and the other guy don't want any part of this.
They have no combat training. That's why they're easily captured.
And I'm assuming Sally also does not want any part of this.
Sally is now nibbling on the end of the freeze gun.
Oh my god, I grabbed that too. Please. I have food. Things you can eat. Why are you doing this?
What do you got?
Real quick, can I make a... Oh, go ahead.
Like what kind of food?
Shit, that's a good question. What kind of food does Gastone eat?
While you're deciding... Oh, go ahead.
What kind of food? What do I have in my fridge? Burgers. I have burgers.
Yes. Mate, can I make a perception?
You don't like meat? Okay, I have fish. How do you feel about fish? No. Okay. Just veggies then. What about veggies?
Mate, John takes out an iron ingot and passes it to her from his briefcase.
Okay.
Are you... Is this what you're looking for?
She grabs it and sort of like... And then her eyes go wide. And she leans back and starts falling over in the chair. Her arms just sort of spin wildly and she falls over onto the ground and then keeps flailing.
Okay, she's having a seizure. Everybody, real quick, back up, give her some room. And John finds something for her to bite down on.
Okay, aside from the iron ingot she's already biting down on?
Yeah. Oh, she's still biting on that.
Yeah.
What is that thing?
It's just a piece of iron. I figure she keeps biting on your tech. Maybe she's an iron eater. I don't know.
Huh.
John's not going to try and restrain her. He's going to get close enough. And using, I'm assuming from his background as a field agent, he has some idea how to react in a
medicine.
situation.
If anyone here has a medicine check,
John definitely has that.
Feel free to roll that.
He's only okay at it.
You can do this untrained if you'd like.
Oh, I do have medicine.
Sweet, roll it.
Can I just assist Asena and let her roll with advantage?
Yeah, Asena, roll this check with advantage. So roll again and take the better of the two.
Oh, actually, my medicine's much better. Oops.
All right, roll and see if you get... Oh!
Hey!
Well, we take those. All right. Asena, either way, the result will work. She is not having a seizure. She is falling. Or at least she thinks she's falling. Like she fell over in her chair and she's not flailing around and thrashing and twitching. She's like, her arms are waving as if she's just continuously free falling, even though she's in contact with the ground.
Okay. I'll just go over and sort of like catch her and pick her up.
All right, she grabs onto you. Her eyes are still wide and she's just shaking. And she spits out the iron ingot onto the ground.
Oh, hey, it's okay. I got you. Don't worry.
Sally,
what the
just
heck
happened?
did you give her?
It's just a piece of iron. Sally, what the heck just happened? Are you all right?
She seems to be calming down now. As she realizes that she's gripping on to Asena, with an iron grip. She looks around, she looks down at the floor, looks up.
Has this ever happened to you before?
You can put me down now.
Okay. I'll put her down. And then I'll, pet her head.
Okay.
John's going to take a knee and just kind of kneel in front of her. Sally, dear, I'm sorry we keep pressuring you on this, but we'd like some answers. What just happened to you?
I was falling, and there was a lot of weird crap around me.
Weird crap, what do you mean?
Oh, there was
Probably all Gastone stuff.
What?
there was a brick with a pokey thing on the end of it, and there was some red dynamite sticks and a rope, and John.
Oh, yep, I know exactly what she's describing. Hey, okay, so Sally, when you bite on other things, do you get premonitions? Do you, you weren't falling, sweetie.
I don't want to know what a premonition is.
So, do you see weird things like you just did when you bite on other things? You're muted. We get a +1 experience.
Everyone gets 1 XP. No, I taste weird things.
What do you mean you taste weird things?
Like, I just tasted that I was falling and that there were... John, she looks at you with a dark look in her eye for a moment. There was stuff. Dead stuff.
Where did you get that thing, John?
Don't worry about it.
So defensive, John.
John picks up
For something
iron
you
ingot.
just handed to a child.
John picks up the iron ingot, opens his briefcase, sticks it back inside, closes it, locks it, and then stuffs it back under his trench coat again.
You could have poisoned her.
That was not my intent. Sally, when you were just chewing on the ray gun, what did you see, if anything? What did you taste?
Well, it was really cold. And there was gurgling, and there was light sort of rippling on the walls, and machines, and it was destroy.
What about the face plate? What did you see when you were chewing on that?
No, I saw your helper.
Like,
Doesn't-
fully constructed?
Yeah. Doesn't like water.
Oh my
Doesn't like
God.
you that much.
Okay, so
I'm just gonna skip right past that.
Does
So you
like
can
listening
take
to the radio, though.
I will keep that in mind.
Okay.
So taste the future? Is that what this is?
I think
Oh my
it's
God,
more complicated than
John.
that, Gastone. I
Really?
think she's a seer of sorts, and like a teething seer, as it were. I get
So
the
she's
sense
tasting
that
the
she, depending on what she's chewing on, she either gets a sense of, again, what things could be, where things have come from, and the sensation that an echo of the place that the item has been, or at least most recently. Your robot is the future. That ray gun seems like the past, and that ingot likely had a connection to a place, as far as I can tell. So yeah, you should probably feed her real food.
No burgers.
Yeah. How about a sandwich with no meat in it?
I can whip up an amazing cucumber sandwich, Sally. Would you like a cucumber sandwich?
Yes.
And would you like tea or coffee with that? Or water?
Isn't she a kid? You can give her coffee.
I had coffee when I was a kid.
Yeah, and look how he turned
You're
out.
also not a human.
I am a human being, Gastone.
Oh, okay.
Just not from here, is all. Okay, I'm gonna go get some tea and sandwiches. I'll be right back. Does anybody else want some cucumber sandwiches while I'm at it?
You have any sandwiches with meat in them?
I could. Gaston, do you have? Oh, I can make you a cucumber burger if you want.
Saul shimmies up to Gastone. He's like, "So, heard you got some burgers in there."
Yeah,
Actually-
Saul. Yeah, I do.
Actually, John looks around. Guys, we're not super far from Wound. Do we just want to take everyone out to eat? This is going to be a lot of Gaston's food if we feed literally like a dozen people.
Yeah, I have a job. I can buy more.
Okay, well, if that's cool, let me just go ahead and it'll take me about a half an hour or more to fix all this up, but I can make it happen.
All right.
Let's make
Especially with magic! And John just summons a bunch of utensils to help him.
Asena, go ahead.
Let's make sure that whatever Sally eats is ethically sourced. We don't want to give her any bad vibes.
I didn't even know you knew the word ethical.
I'm from the forest.
You just picked that up naturally.
Ah, how
the-
silly of me.
Yeah. The wolves are big into fair trade.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
All right. John, are you proficient in you saw what chat did. You have disadvantage on a sandwich making check.
Yeah, I noticed that. Are
Are you proficient in chef's tools at all? Or anything of the sort?
Chef's tools, no.
All right.
No,
anyone
not specifically.
Anyone can cook something up, but if you want to make something fancy, you gotta have a related proficiency. So just go ahead and
Here's
roll
the
like.
thing. I'm half proficient in everything. Just
That's okay. That's fair.
I'm really good at a little bit of everything, so there's that.
All right. Yeah. Go ahead and roll a check with disadvantage, and
Great.
we'll probably cut to the break as everybody sits around eating burgers and cucumber sandwiches.
What would you like me to roll, friend?
I'm gonna call this an intelligence-based check with half proficiency. So, dealer's choice. If you've got, are there any proficient intelligence-based skills you're not proficient in?
Yeah, actually, I'll roll that.
Do that with disadvantage.
17.
17. Yep.
I eat disadvantage for breakfast. Bring it on. Boom.
And you just served it for lunch. Congratulate. No, I'm kidding.
That's right. These are my disadvantage sandwiches. I hope you guys enjoy that.
All right. Everybody sits down. I can just imagine Gastone like scraping half-built machinery and inventions and explosives and death rays off the tables in order to make room for everyone, because you do not normally entertain this much company. Everyone sits down in the Harbor District warehouse turned loft turned laboratory, and you have a nice meal of cucumbers and cucumber sandwiches and hamburgers. And we will go ahead and take
Oh, just regardless of how well I did on my check, John used prestidigitation to make everything we eat and drink taste amazing.
Okay.
Wow.
So it was already okay, but like it's really good stuff.
All right. Sally bites into it and then just starts comprehending the arcane. We're gonna go ahead and take a break. We'll come back in 5-6 minutes. Don't go anywhere.